You're on. Have fun.
All right. So, hello everyone, and yeah, I'm gonna be here doing some stick and spin in Mario Party Superstars. This is since this game is essentially a remake of basically like the entire Mario Party series. There's also some of the puzzle games involved, and I'm gonna be doing this one, Stick and Spin. It originates from Mario Party 7, and for some reason, there's an in-game achievement that wants you to sort of play this until level 99. So that's what we're gonna do now. I'm joined by SM Midi, who's doing commentary.
Hiya, yeah, I'm Midi. I was here earlier for Mario Kart DS and 3D World, and I've also done one run of Blockstar, which is the other category on the leaderboards, and I've attempted Stick and Spin, and I know how hard the end of the game is, so yeah, you're in for a treat.
So yeah, I guess without further ado, Toad's almost falling asleep, so we should get going soon. So yeah, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck. Okay, so starting off at the beginning, basically the aim of this minigame is to sort the balls into groups of 5. You'll notice right at the beginning that Brass is actually trying to do just 5. You can do more than that, and they will come off of the counter in the middle. Whenever that counter ticks to 0, the level will then move on. And there are also checkpoints every 5, so if you do fail, which is very possible, thankfully the backup is just to restart from checkpoint, which is a very nice feature to have. So we're already on level 4, and it goes up quite quickly, but progressing these first few levels is quite quick because there's not too much going on. Now, what you will notice as well, there are 5 different coloured balls before we get to some shenanigans later. And there actually used to be 6 on the older versions of this minigame, as Brass mentioned in Mario Party 7 and also Mario Party DS. They had 6 colours, but when the devs ND Cube ripped the assets from the Mario Party 9 puzzle game, a different one, they only had 5 colours there. So yeah, bit of a strange thing to be going on, but that is essentially why there's only 5 instead of 6 in this version. So the way that the game ends as well is if we go 10 balls over that top line. Now, I do believe that top line can change levels depending on the checkpoint you're on, but right now we have 3 layers of that, and looking good so far. Now, what we're also seeing at the beginning especially, but throughout the run really, is the hard drop, similar to other puzzle games like this. Now, the hard drop is just by pressing A, and there's also a little cooldown when you don't hard drop of about 1.5 seconds. So by doing this, we are speeding the game up a little bit. Yeah, being able to throw away quite a few that we're not using there, trying to group up the ones that you are going to be using. And hitting level 11, we are going to be getting a completely new board. Everything else disappears, and we move on. So there's already a row filled in on this one. Still sticking with the classic, trying to get 5, because these are going up in multiples of 5, that is worth doing. Yeah, you can also tell that they are connected as well because of the lines. Unfortunately, one of those is not, but that's fine, clearing that one out. So, yeah, not too bad so far. And we're also getting some of these that are not multiples of 5, but again, we don't want to be doing that too often at this early stage. So we're just letting it close out here. We are going to get some new gimmicks coming up. We're already on level 14. So this run actually will end at level 99, and because of the way the achievement system works in the game, we will not need to clear level 99. Brass will only need to reach level 99, and the achievement unlocks from there, and that's where the run category comes from. So closing up level 15, hopefully. Seeing there are balls of different sizes, but again, it's no big problem at this stage. Level 15's done, and we're moving on to level 16. So we now have these bubbles. Every time you drop a ball onto one of these bubbles, it will pop. But as you can see, if you're covering them up, it is harder to pop them. So getting rid of a few of them there, and then as usual, sticking with the classic pattern of trying to group up the same colors together.
For this segment, the bubbles are like not such a big deal because the ones that are already there are actually the only ones that appear. You don't get any from the conveyor belt.
Yeah. So these bubbles do actually count towards the progression of the level as well. So if we do end up with something like just one bubble remaining, Brass can simply just get one of the balls down onto that bubble, and that will clear the level, which will save getting rid of an entire cluster of 5 or more balls. So as you can see, you can get all of the queue coming up at the top as well, which helps you to stay ahead with any puzzle game, really, stay ahead of the game. And there's quite a lot in that queue, mainly because of how fast-paced the game is, really. And if you look on the leaderboard, a lot of the runs are very close together in time. Coming up, level 21, we have new mechanics. So we have the garbage, and that garbage is going to be cleared whenever surrounding balls are cleared around them, and those ones also do count towards progression. So we're going to see a lot of more than 5 balls clearing at once now. And there was actually a little tick over those that group of blue at the beginning of this level. Actually did tick when the level ticked over, so they did count towards the next level, thankfully. Saving a little bit of time there. And then already clearing level 22. So it's looking like the run is going pretty quick. However, the later levels, understandably, are going to get a lot harder. We're going to get even more gimmicks. As you can see, there are now big balls of garbage coming down, which we're going to need to clear out. And not just that, but they are not just going to be ones later on. Brass will need to clear multiple of the same ball multiple times before they will actually disappear. So just 2 remaining there. Closing one out, very nice. So again, last one for this level is going to have 30 balls to clear. But again, there's a lot of empty space on the other side at this stage in the game, so there's not too much pressure going on. That can build up very quickly, and should the game progress further. And it's looking like, yeah, that would have cleared, but unfortunately doesn't count towards the next level. We're moving on to level 26 now. 26 to 30. There's a lot that's the same here, but again, as you can see, there are only 2 rows now, or 2 circles to deal with before you are going to start to get those extras appear. And as you can see in the center, that little circle in the middle will, around the number, will show you how many above the line there are. If we reach 10, you've got 2 seconds to clear out any of those balls, and as long as you are under 10 in that time limit, which is a very tight timer, you will be able to stay in the game. If not, again, we do have the checkpoint system. And what you can also see is at the top, the hold queue is invisible, so a core element of the puzzle game, completely gone, at least for this level here. Clearing out 6 there, obviously won't matter too much because we're still probably going to need 2 sets of 5 to clear the level. But it's no big deal.
I've made a bit of a mess here.
That's fine, we've got purples appearing now, so dealing with 5 colours on a set of circles this low is pretty hard. Very nice clearing out those greens.
Usually you can play like a bit wider, since you have like 5 levels to actually make use of whatever ball drops. It's usually fine to have like 2 stacks of each color. So you don't have to like scroll too far to get everything in their place.
Yeah, really that is the difference between a beginner and a top runner of this category. If you are someone who is able to split up the same colour, not only is that going to help you to stay in the game because you have less distance to travel, and so you can actually clear more often rather than dropping it in the wrong place by not being able to reach it, but also it is a very nice time save, and it's going to help a lot throughout this run. Being able to stay, not move the cylinder round or the circle round as much at all, really, is going to save a bunch of time. Really minimal for each ball, but we are going to see quite a lot in this entire run. We're already on level 33, and as you can see, these garbage balls at the bottom have lots of numbers on them, 4 maximum, right there. And not only that, but we are also getting garbage appearing in the queue, which we're going to have to deal with. Very nice to group up that garbage there, building it up on the top there, but having that high cluster of the same colored balls, being able to chip away at those garbage balls quite early on for them to be there. And 3 are disappearing all at once. We just need 1 more here to move on to the next gimmick. And as you can see, because we are going to refresh the board in a moment, Brass is playing a little risky. So we're able to just clear it out. And all of that mess is all gone. So it doesn't really matter. Now here, this one is where I'm probably going to start going quiet sometimes, where it starts to get a little bit risky. So as you can see,
this
it might
is
not
by
be immediately
far
obvious.
the most annoying gimmick in the entire game. Thankfully, it doesn't like repeat anywhere.
Yeah. So this gimmick is essentially, it is spinning on its own. So if you go clockwise, essentially the circle is going clockwise. So if you go against the circle, you'll move very slowly. And if you go towards the in the same direction as the circle, it's going to go very fast. So dealing with that at the same time as everything else that's already going on in this game is very difficult. And again, it's going back to the normal stage of just the 5 colors. You can see the whole hold queue. There's not any garbage right now, so it is fairly normal. However, this gimmick, as Brass says, is very awkward to deal with. So Brass, even knowing that this section is hard, still splitting up the same colors. Very nice clear there, and that is level 40 done. Moving on to level 41 to 45. Now, these big bubbles do need to be got rid of quickly. Bubbles are the same as before, so you can hit any ball or another bubble onto the bubble to make the one being hit take a hit. And, of course, some of these do have numbers higher than 1, so they are fairly hard to deal with, because if they have a high number on them, you could very easily surround balls around those, and it would just make them disappear under the rest, and that just makes them really hard to be dealt with after that point. So very good to get rid of them as soon as possible. Really just at every opportunity you want to be hitting a bubble, if it's convenient. So thankfully we are back to normal. We're not doing the spinning circle again. Not for now. So as you can see, we're now getting 3 bubbles, and 3 significantly harder to deal with than 2, although we have seen, for example, garbage on some other levels that have 4. Because these are bubbles, they are a lot harder to deal with here. As you can see, they are not chaining with lines attached to them. That is because they are all separate. That is how the level worked earlier with the bubbles, where all of them can be lined up. They will not chain each other and disappear. They will just sit there until you collide with them with another ball. So Brass taking a little bit more time here, dealing with that 3. Very nicely dealt with there. A lot less of a threat once it's down to 1 and spaced out from the other balls. Very nice. And that last bubble taken down to 5 and then down to 4. And that's level 45 done. So again, another very, very difficult one here. Brass has mentioned this is very difficult. So there is not much space here. Again, there is only, yeah, there's the 3 circles here. And because there are bigger balls on this one, it's very easy to reach that top. So the checkpoints could come in handy here should we need them. So at the beginning there are just 3 colours here, but even so, this is not an easy section to navigate, truly, just because of the limited space for this one. The limited space paired with the fact that there are lots of bigger ones here that are reaching the top much quicker. So another thing to note with these bubbles or these balls with the numbers here, as you can see, a lot of the time Brass is actually chaining more than 5 together, and the reason for that, every time you do that, it will tick 1 off of a counter of one of the balls. So essentially it makes it a lot more worth going for more than 5, even if it doesn't necessarily move the game on quicker. We are introducing green balls here though. Brass is going to have that little bit of extra space on the other side to deal with those, but again, not much room to space out the same coloured balls. Very nice clear out of those yellows, getting a lot of those down from those high numbers. Very nice. So all those high numbered reds are very grouped together as well, and there are lots of 5s coming up in the queue. Those greens not too convenient to get to from there, managing to get there though. And lots of yellows all in one. That is a very, very nice clear. So those are, although they're already sitting above the line, the red line, because they are yet to be cleared, or they were going to be cleared, they were flashing. That means they are just going to disappear. Now these ones, thankfully, we can kind of cheese the bottom row by just alternating the ones we're pressing. So these white and black dots, essentially what you want to do is every time you hit one, similar to the bubbles, they change. Rather than the bubbles disappearing, these ones will change from black to white and vice versa. So by doing that alternating pattern on the inside, we're able to just instantly clear out that bottom row, which makes this a lot more manageable. Saying that, this is not an easy set of 5 levels regardless. Now at this stage it's not too much of a concern of what colours they are, however it would be nice to make sure that we're not changing them over unnecessarily, and if we are, is it going to break up an entire group? Are there multiple white balls, multiple black balls that if we break them up, is it going to make it a lot harder to deal with? Are we going to end up with alternating colours? So far, managing to deal with it quite well. And again, lots of space around the other side, kind of a sign that there's... This is a much nicer level when you know what you're doing. It can be quite daunting when you're coming across this. There's not really a gimmick like this before this point in the game, so yeah, very good to know what you're doing here. And they're actually, if you change the color of one that has already started to flash, it will still disappear. So that was absolutely fine there. Just one more level to go. And not a lot left remaining, just 3 more. Going to be clearing that one out. Very nice. So this one, you can actually kind of focus on the sorting. This one looks painful. However, if you don't panic here and you know exactly how to do it, similar to the alternating before, getting rid of those bubbles so that they're not becoming problematic later. This is not a terrible one to deal with. And even if you did have a mishap here, this is not too bad because, again, we do have checkpoints, and should brass need them, they can be used. So, thankfully, I mean, this is only one circle before that that top row, so if you do start to get a few not comboing, then you might be in trouble, but because there's not much space, managing to deal with it quite well here. And a lot of bubbles are appearing, which are kind of just able to progress the game even faster. Even though they're trying to be a hindrance, they're actually kind of helping in a way. You can even just chain the bubbles together, and that will act exactly the same as if you hit them with a ball. Level 58 done there. So again, very nice use of the bubbles there, managing to go down from 6 to 4. That means we're able to just clear that set of balls just with one clear, rather than needing to use 2 sets of 5 to clear a 6. Very nice perk with the bubble levels here. And massive clear there, very nice to end level 60. Level 61 to level 65 is pretty similar to what we've just seen, although there is a little more space now. Now, we're also seeing some of these bigger black-white changing balls now. And there are some on the inside which are difficult to deal with, again, if you don't know what you're doing, but managing to keep them under control. Yeah, very nicely there. And again, as mentioned previously, those black and white ones, not particularly comboing. When the balls are falling that fast, it's quite hard to think fast enough to make sure they're not alternating, but managing to keep a few of them in a cluster there should be okay. And there is still, again, as we've seen as a recurring theme, lots of space to work with should brass need it.
Slowing down a little bit.
That's absolutely
because,
fine.
This one's being a bit tough to me.
Yeah. Very nice clear there of the black whites.
We should be
nice combo
able
there.
to finish there. Yeah, that's good.
Just one more combo needed. Looks like you've done it. Yeah, there you go. There's a combo of 6 reds, and that is going to close out 65. Little bit scary there, but managing to get past it. Now 66 to 70. It is looking intimidating again. There's a lot of that going on in this game. But because at some point, this game just, in this round, just stops giving you big balls. I don't know why. It just does. So yeah, managing to deal with them at the beginning will be nice for later on. And again, not too many different coloured balls at this early stage on this checkpoint. And again, yeah, each checkpoint is at each increment of 5 levels. So yeah, looking like it's going to be okay so far for Brass. So as you can see, basically every ball in the queue right now is at 2. Which isn't the best to deal with, but as long as you're combining them together and doing what Brass is doing just there, getting a combo of 10 red balls in a row, you're able to get an extra tick for every time you stack an additional one after 5, which is a very powerful mechanic of the game. Very nice.
So basically, with all of these counters in play, what basically ends up happening is the stack becomes incredibly janky to deal with. As you can see, like when in some matches there's like 2 or 3 balls that disappear and basically everything starts shifting around because well, the stack has a really weird, ends up having a really weird geometry that it has to deal with. On this level, you can kind of deal with it, but especially in the 90s, that becomes incredibly tough to deal with, because then you start getting counters and the black and white switching balls.
Yeah, so as you can see here on some of these clusters, you are seeing, for example, that purple stack. Managing to... It did line up perfectly after that. But yeah, if you have a cluster of 1s in the middle and then lots of high ones around, those high ones are not going to be assisted by those lower ones, because those lower ones are going to disappear when they reach 1. So good to get these combos higher than 5 where possible. We've moved on to 71 to 75 now. Yeah, apparently looking like it's a fairly simple round again, not too much going on here. So a little bit of a breather, hopefully, if there's any such a thing in this run, to be honest. There's not really, but yeah, if there is such a breather, then this is it. It's just leading you into a false sense of security for what's to come, really.
That didn't match. Okay.
Yeah, there was a few splitting apart there, but managing to line them back up again. Nice little combo too.
So the catch kind of starts to show up right now. The game tries to give you another space issue. But since we don't have like counters to deal with in this round, it's usually manageable, although any mistake is going to be physically rather large. So yeah, you're usually going to be fine like 80% of the time until you really aren't, although this time we got through it just fine. So over here, they decided, instead of hiding the conveyor, they decided to hide half the stack instead. This is a lot more manageable than hiding the conveyor, to be honest. So this is another relatively light round.
Yeah, this really is one of those levels where if you can memorize at the same time as playing with the main game, really looking at your next up queue, memorizing that other side of the conveyor, you will be able to shine in this round. So thankfully, not looking too bad so far.
To be honest, it doesn't even take a lot of memorization, just because with 3 colors you only need like a third of the you only really need to play on like a third of the stack at a time.
Yeah, so as Brass was mentioning, there were just 3 colours, but now we are going to see a few more. We're going to get back up to the usual 5. Just these last couple of levels. But again, because the first few started with just 3 colours, it does make this manageable. So, level 81 to 85 has extra drops. It's not too tricky, but it is important to stay efficient here. Yeah, so there are random balls falling in the background. You can see them with a few seconds before they actually fall. However, if the lines, if the balls start building up to that red line at the top, you will not have much time to move them around. And so it really is just a snowball effect of, if you are in a precarious position, it's just going to get worse. And if you're not on level 85, yeah, it's going to be hard to deal with. But looking good so far. Nice little combo of 5 reds in a row there. And seeing more colours drop than the usual 3. That is really how these levels go a lot of the time. You are led into a false sense of security just by having a few colours, and then they throw the other 2 colours at you, and it then becomes a lot harder to deal with if you've not already been able to adjust yourself to the gimmick.
I tried doing something there, but just causing me trouble. Again. No, I know that doesn't connect. What am I doing? Okay, we're through that at least.
Very nice clutch there. Moving on, still managing to not end up gaming over. Again, we do have the checkpoints, so it really isn't the end of the world as far as the marathon's concerned. We are already on level 86. So 86, we have higher gravity. So it's another one where if really the whole game is like this, but it's another one where if the balls are stacking up very high on that red row, it's going to be harder to deal with. You're going to have little to no time to figure out where exactly you want the balls to go, unless you're looking tentatively at that hold queue, or that next queue. And this is really where the speedrunner method of playing only half of the field most of the time, it does come in handy, because you do not have enough time to get the conveyor belt to go to the other side on these levels. So very good to know exactly where you're going to go at each point. And nice clear of that 7 to make sure you only needed 1 combo there. Very good.
So another thing we haven't quite mentioned yet, but it does become relevant now, is if you don't hard drop, there's actually going to be a slight delay before the next ball actually starts dropping. So especially in like this high gravity setting, I can kind of use that to be able to get to places where I would not normally be able to go to if I were just hard dropping like usual.
Yeah, absolutely. That extra a second and a half of delay.
Okay, now I gotta need to focus though.
Okay, good luck. This is level 91 to 95. I won't do much explaining here because this is just difficult. So all you can do is wish Brass luck for this one.
I'm gonna take a death here.
Yeah, understandable.
I already kind of messed up a bit.
Yeah.
So kind of unfortunate not being able to do this deathless, but
yeah.
Oh well.
Level 91 does that. Yeah. So those black and white balls building up there, going against you a little bit, and also that combo. The problem with that combo is that if you then try and clear that out, you've got to be careful you're not then changing the colors to the other one. It's just too difficult to deal with when you're already on 91. It's just so much easier to take a death.
So something that's kind of unfortunate here is the counters on the small balls make it surprisingly tough to actually tell what color they are.
Yeah. So the colors, the color text is always white, but then you do have the black and white balls. So understandably does make it a little bit hard to pass when you are dealing with lots of balls in lots of different areas at the same time, including that next queue. Yeah, makes it a bit difficult, really.
What's this? I connect this. Alright, we're through. Okay.
Oh, that was a solid clear. Wow. basically first try. I mean, taking a really early death on level 91, and that is it so far. Level 96 to 98. Now, it's very key to note that, as Brass has already mentioned in the run, thankfully, level 91 to level 95, that is the hardest bit. Because of the way the achievement system works in this game, you only need to reach level 99. Of course, that means you only need to deal with not just 5, not 4, but 3 levels here. As soon as you hit 99, you can take the death, and that will be time. So, only 3 to deal with here, although it is just as hard, if not harder, as the previous one. Only having 3 levels to deal with does make it a lot more manageable.
I don't have... That's not good. By the way, time's actually gonna be immediately when it ticks over to level 99. Basically, in case someone wants to do like high score attack of this, then you can sort of continue onward from like an actual good run that's like properly deathless. So time's gonna be right now.
GG, that is a very impressive time. 40:23 on the timer. That
actually
is...
this might be a PB.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Yeah, that is a very, very good time. Literally 1 death on 91.
It's 3 seconds off of my PB.
That is, I mean, in a marathon setting, that is very, very impressive. Yeah, massive GG's to Brass on that one.
So, yeah, that was the run. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and hang on, I can look at what's up next. So, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a it's still showing a short setup block after this, so I guess the next run is Dr. Mario. So yeah, pretty much on theme. Another fun puzzle run. So yeah, I hope to you're gonna have all that fun there. So yeah, I guess I'll head off now, and good luck on the rest of the marathon. I'm not sure if Midi's supposed to be intending to talk here, or I almost have a suspicion he got disconnected somewhere.
I am here.
Oh, yeah.
If we're still on, go and follow Brass, twitch.tv/brassbeat.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I suck at outros, so let's just end things off right there.